we have to get. I got it's people from streaming services in the room, and people who I love actually that I've worked with. We gotta bring this back to music. We got artists shouldn't feel lucky that they get a meeting with editors or artists and label reps. We should feel lucky to be in the room with artists. That like if it's people who work with creatives, if they don't have reverence for creativity and for those creatives, then
Yes.
get them out. Get them out. It looks terrible. It's whack right now. It's whack. It's whack. That's why I loved having Jimmy Iovine and Larry and Apple, having Leor and YouTube, me, Rocco, and our team, within Spotify. Because you had people who actually and are invested in the outcomes of artists and not invested in their own, their particular career outcomes. Like that's what we got. That's what we got to get back to. That's when artists win. Otherwise, it's like everybody's just talk the talk, and it's for press releases and things along those lines, but you're not really actually seeing the change. We got to push for it. We really, really have to push for it.
Well, that's where Troy gets back to Jack's original point of creators not only recognizing their worth, but being able to participate in the upside, right? Like now you're seeing these athletes take their deals in crypto and just being creative with how they take their contracts, right? Like coming in, when I got signed to Def Jam, had I known that Kevin Liles and Leo Cohen would be leaving the company in the next 9 months to 12 months, I may have made some different decisions, right? Like if I'm not so desperate to take an advance, all I'm ever saying at these tables, at these negotiating tables is, hey, just create a path. I'll bet on myself. It's the Kirk Cousins Washington franchise him for 4 years theory. I bet on myself. You just have to create the path for me to participate. So now if your contract, president of the label, is incentivized by the overall growth of the label, then why isn't mine? I mean, it starts with really simple questions like that change the way things are done throughout the rest of history. It was one man one year that said, yo, Napster is killing shit. We need to participate in more since we do more 360, all this shit. And you know what happened? That became the standard. Artists have yet to create not one standard. Not one. We looking at De La Soul going through trying to still get paid from one of the greatest albums ever made 30 years ago. We looking at all types of artists fucked up out there, people that created this shit on Sedgwick Avenue. Like, what more needs to happen to say, damn, man, when do the artists get to say what goes on? When do we get to dictate anything? And that day has to be soon cometh. That one. Because that's where you see real change begin to happen. Like, if all the hottest artists from all the hottest regions spoke to each other before they spoke to their attorneys and the other executives and came up with something and said, you know what? Nah, we're not signing. We're not signing unless 0.01% of every contract now just goes to reparations for artists that came before us. That sounds crazy, right? It shouldn't sound so crazy. Bobby Shmurda just did it. Bobby Shmurda just said to his lawyer, yo, nah, no, I'm not going to tell on anybody. I'm going to sit for another 2 years so that my man is all right. It's a real simple concept. Yet we've had trouble doing this since before I was even a thought in my dad's nuts. Why? Why? Thinking, conditioning. Shit, I'm so obsessive. I take it to parenting. I got a 3-year-old. My 3-year-old loves the iPad. All the other parents I talk to out there, they be like, take that shit away from him. I be like, why? He gonna need whatever he doing, he gonna need in the world that he's gonna live in. It's not my job to try to understand it. It don't exist. The world I came up in, all that 90s golden era shit, it don't exist. It don't exist anymore. When the teachers tried to teach me about cursive in junior high school or whenever that was, know what I was thinking in my head as a creative? I'm not gonna need that. The future is not gonna consist of that. Writing shit, pretty super terms. Now, mind you, I might have been a little ignorant and on drugs, but I was right. So it's like it starts there. We talk about we talk about sharing of information and some of the things that could change things, right? It don't take but so much money. You know, the talk in the town back in the day as kids, we used to hit the streets, hit the local YMCA, the park, shoot hoops, anything to distract us, keep us out of trouble. If you had a mom that loved you, she probably tried to keep you in some after school program, tried to put you in piano classes or some shit like that, right? It don't take but so much money to put some forward thinking, creative institutions in impoverished neighborhoods to change the thinking. It don't cost much. You seeing Puff do it, you seeing LeBron do it. I mean, I'd love to see more people invest their money that way. Boy, do I get sad when I see jewelry on everybody. Why? Now that I have a couple dollars, I know where it should be, what you should do with it. It should be off you and somewhere just helping the universe, just helping the world, hopefully bringing some money back to you. So it's going to take a change in thinking, is my point. I don't
Right.
want to just ramble. It's going to take a change in thinking and conditioning. That starts in the home, that starts in your friend groups, that starts in your parenting, even. I mean, it starts with your parents, even. There's that generation gap. Sometimes you man up, you get to that point where you recognize some of the missteps that your parents, some of the misinformation your parents receive, and you have to change that now. It's deep like that, y'all. Like it's not time to play out here. When all the wealth, when we seeing the greatest exchange of wealth and currency that we've ever seen before. Every morning I'm explaining to my moms what the fuck, or doing my best to explain what's going on to my parents in this fucking stock market and Wall Street and the creatives and Reddit and this and that. Like, it's important to know. And like I just said on my podcast a little while ago, boy, would I love to know what it would be like if my parents knew that instead of crack in the 80s.
Life changing.
Man, we looking at a whole different ball game. And that's the ball game I'm looking at for the kid that I'm sure my kid is about to have since he just learned how his dick worked. That's where I'm at as a parent right now. How do I change the world for something that I may not enjoy for myself? Something that I may not get to experience, because Joe's experience was horrible. It was a shit show. And if I speak to some of the other creatives here, I'm sure you have the same experience.
Yep.
So it's not really about y'all. So when you get to these situations and these tables, try not to be so self-serving. Like, it was tough to find a rapper on every block when I was rapping in 94. By 99, it was a rapper everywhere. That's awesome. It's not just about me no more. This is a craft and you freely give it away. You can't keep it unless you freely give it away. So somebody somewhere could have like an economic boom and we put more money somewhere so we can make different decisions because we're not desperate today. I'm going to always get back to the same point. But it certainly can't be just Joe. It certainly can't be just Jack. it certainly can't be any of you creators out there that feel like you need to take the $50 ad. I was going down fucking memory lane the other day thinking about when I had to take the $100 ads. It wasn't that I had to take the $100 ad. It's that the market hadn't figured itself out yet. I was ahead of shit again. God damn it, I hate when that happens. Kevin Liles told me in 2002, Joe, if you don't sell no records, it's not because you're not one of the best rappers in the world. It's because the market's not there yet. So as a creator, hate to tell you this, while you're battling mental health and everything else, you have to deal with the fucking timing of the universe too. Add that into the shit that you have to balance. Sometimes it's just not time for some of this shit. Back to the people saying, why did Joe just now join Patreon? Sometimes it's not the right time. And your higher power plays a part in this, and luck plays a part in this, and your team plays a part in this. Sometimes it's not all the fuck about you. Hey, that's another tough lesson as creators we got to deal with. Hey, it's not all about me. I know don't nobody eat if I don't get it done, but guess what? I'm not shit without everybody else. I'm not shit without the fans. I'm not shit without whoever. Listen, you determine who those people are. Who do you shut up for? Who do you trust? That's on you. But once you get where you got to be, and it's the evolution that's happening. Jack talked about a renaissance that's happening. That's where we are right now. And if you can't tell that, then get the fuck out of my way. Get out of my way. Move. I was laughing 3 seconds ago. Know why? It's silence out there after me and Jack announcement. Silence of the fucking lambs. Anthony Hopkins, Joe loves it. I love shit like this. I just went through a whole fucking smear campaign when I started to ask too many questions. Don't tell me about how this shit is supposed to work. I love the silence, nigga. Work is happening. Move if you don't get it. Move if you don't see it. Criticize on your own platforms that you monetize because a nigga name is hot. Nigga, go get a buck. I don't hate on nobody. But when it's time for the real work to get done, move and let niggas get it done. I'm out.
Joe, I gotta end on that Renaissance note. Cause I don't use that word lightly.
I know you don't, Jack.
I think it's already started. And I do think it's a renaissance. I think it'll be a renaissance that'll make the last renaissance look like playtime. Because what's happening now, and again, I'm an eternal optimist. So, you know, I've talked about this before, and people have said that, you know, I see the world through rose-colored glasses. But what I think is starting to happen, it's already happened. You know, to Troy's point, it's not just going to take a couple big deals, a couple big creators to sign the right contract, to ask for the right thing. I think it's the other way around too. It's a couple Joe Buddens to walk away and then to watch the ramifications of that. And then for the companies to realize that people aren't going to put up with it anymore. That's already happening. Creators are already leaving. They're already taking their audiences elsewhere where they're treated better, where they're treated like people. And as that happens, I'm not saying this is going to happen out of the goodness of these companies' heart. It's not happening out of the goodness of their heart. But as that happens, what we're going to see is these companies are going to be forced. They're going to be forced to treat people better. They're going to be forced by creators to pay them more.
Mm-hmm.
And that we're already seeing that. These companies are already, Patreon has been copied in all the distribution platforms. They just took what we did and they copy it. And actually, I'm fucking thrilled about it. A lot of people ask me if I'm worried about competition. No, I'm psyched.
They're not finished
Finally.
copying either.
God damn it. Finally. But it didn't take us yelling about it. It took a company to come and eat their fucking lunch until they started building it and fixing it. And as more creators walk away, as more Joe Budden say, I'm fed up with this and leave, those companies are going to be forced to pay creators better. They're already starting. They already have, quote unquote, alternative monetization teams. I love that word. Alternative monetization teams. They're hiring product managers for alternative forms of monetization. That's what they're investing in now. And as that happens, here's how this is going to play out over the next decade. As that happens, creators are going to make more and more money. These companies are going to end up having to compete with each other to be the best at paying creators. All these companies. And they're all announcing it. They're all rolling out monetization roadmaps for creators. They're going to have to compete with each other to keep creators on their platform. The result of that is creators are going to have even more leverage. They're going to be even better financed. They're going to grow their businesses. They're going to build small business media companies. They're going to understand the power of their communities. They're finally going to feel valued over the next 10 years. They're finally going to feel valued. And as that happens, the output of creativity, the outpouring of the production of art is going to be unlike anything humans have ever seen on this planet. It's going to be tens of millions of creative people building their dreams, building their futures, and putting their work out there and finally getting paid for it. And finally building legitimate, not even sustainable companies. They're going to be building companies that are crushing it, companies that are killing it. I believe that this is already starting to happen. And Joe, you're leading the charge, man. Like this was a big deal, what happened over these 2 days. And that is paving the way for more folks to do that.
Couldn't agree more, Jack. Well said. You got me ready to run through a brick wall right now, buddy.
Let's do it. Maybe that's a good note to end on.
Nah, that was
I gotta get back to work.
Same, Jack. Same.
Jack's like, now I got to pay for this fucking deal. Let me get back to work. Thanks for inviting me up,
great,
guys.
man.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much, Troy. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone. I'm going to close this room out.